had a website, but it was almost like a vanity project back then. Now it is like an entrance fee to have a business.
Good. Hey, I wanted to let you know that the Google guarantee, the Google ads, man, I'm getting 12 to 16 calls a week.
My goal is at least do 10 to 15 more years, grow it up, sell it for 40, 50 million, maybe more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Titan Talks. My name is Jonathan Stern. I'm an engineer at Topline Pro, but once a week, I have the honor of sitting down with successful home service entrepreneurs to discuss their journeys to success. Today is May 24th, 2023, and my guest is Luke Hansen, founder and CEO of CompanyCam. Luke began his journey in home services in 2014 when he was working for his family's roofing business. Frustrated with the time-consuming task of getting his crews to document job sites, he scoured the landscape for a solution. To his surprise, he came across an astrology app, but found nothing that addressed his specific needs, so he took matters into his own hands and started CompanyCam. Luke, we are so excited to have you on the show. Thanks so much and welcome to Titan Talks.
I'm glad to be here. And, I'm an Aries. I don't really know what the implications of that are, but I know that I've been told that. But no, I'm glad to be here. And hey, we started CompanyCam in 2014, but I'm pretty sure I was thinking of when I started in the trades because my family owns a roofing business. I think I started in 1997 working for my dad, cleaning out job sites and stuff. So I've been in one way or another connected to this kind of like contracting space for it feels like a long time.
I gave a little bit of an intro about what led you to start CompanyCam, but maybe you could take us through, in your words, the journey from the family roofing business into your position today. Would love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would love to hear your version of that story.
So, my dad, he went to school. I think he got a master's degree. He wanted to be like a coach or a physical, like a trainer type of person. And it was a bad job market in the early 80s. And so I was born in 1984, which is the same year he started his roofing business. So growing up, my dad owned a roofing business, and it was successful enough that it worked and got a business. But it was just kind of a local small business. Worked for him maybe from 13 or 14 onward, cleaning up job sites. Graduated to like ripping off the shingles and then nailing down the shingles, and then did sales and marketing and managed the gutter and kind of siding division. And, the company kind of steadily grew. I went to college, dropped out of college, went back to college, eventually graduated. You're supposed to be a doctor after 8 years, but, I had a business degree. And so just essentially worked for my dad up through 2014. And I would have been about 30 at that point. And this was, smartphones were ubiquitous at that point. Almost everyone had one. And as we kept getting bigger, I think maybe at that point we had like 50 people. Taking photos was something that we were trying to do on every job. And I was managing this gutter and siding division at that point, along with running the marketing. And we just needed to be taking photos. You need to know what it looked like before. You need to be able to talk about what you're going to do. You need to use them to remember things. You want to use them for your marketing afterwards. Just, every contractor is taking photos in some capacity. And at our scale, which wasn't massive, but it was big enough, just like this was back when people would hand you the tiny little like micro SD card out of their phone. And then you had to put it in the bigger SD card and then put it in the computer. And all the photos are named like image underscore 42069 or something. And I had this mess and I couldn't get the photos from people, and we would kind of like make mistakes, and it was frustrating. And I thought, okay, we need to take these photos. There's got to be a way that we could do this better. We're all carrying around these cameras with supercomputers attached to them, and GPS. like all we really need to do is connect the photos to that location so that everyone's just automatically do that. And then we don't have to worry about like someone uploading them or sending them to me or all this stuff. And so that's really where it started, was like, we have this problem. Can we solve it? So I did. I went looking around. I just couldn't find anything that was addressing what I thought we needed, which it wasn't. We didn't need a huge system. We needed this kind of like straightforward thing that didn't have everything else on it. And after a while, honestly, from listening to podcasts and just like was thinking to myself, hey, we could do this. Like we could just do it. Why not just try it? We use that. How hard could it be? Famous last words. If you write software, how hard could it be? Sounds easy. So I kind of unilaterally hired a local dev shop, group of software engineers that kind of build software for companies on a contract basis. And they built us a kind of a very simple version as a kind of a proof of concept. And we thought, hey, this is helping us. We believe in it, like that this is something that other people need. And so then in early 2015, we just separated it from the roofing company, started CompanyCam, incredible name. The domain was available. And from there, that was 8 years ago now. It was pretty slow at first. We didn't really know what we were doing, but it's hard that you start to get a little traction and then people start to kind of tell other people. And, now I think we add, over 1,000 paying customers a month on average. And it took us like almost 3 years, I think, to get our first 1,000 paying customers. And so that's like my encouragement, not just to you, but to anyone who's sort of newer in this business, is that it really does. Your product gets better over time, and it does get easier to sell over time because you gain from these kind of like awareness and almost these economies of scale and your ability to just like do everything better. So that's inside baseball on software, but that's how I came to be sitting here looking at both of you.
I'm curious. I know we're talking software, but I imagine many of our contractor listeners could get something out of hearing about this. Could you offer maybe one or two things that you did in the early days to get the business off the ground, and how those business or sales tactics might translate to home service industry?
Yeah, so I think a lot of stuff carries over in that in the beginning, you just have to hustle and you have to create your own opportunities. And you don't necessarily need to worry about whether this is a plan that will scale over the next 5 years or something like that. But like you need to believe in it, and then you need to hustle it out. And for us, the hardest thing at the beginning was finding anyone else who would even work on it, like employees. If you think about like an employee, you're leaving, if you're this, Jonathan, you're a software engineer, you have a good job. And if you're starting something new, getting good people to work with you on that is like really, really important. And people that are smart and talented have tons of options. And so just I hustling around and trying to kind of like meet people and in a sense recruit to get that base of people that we needed to really make it a company, and not just Luke that hired a contracting, a dev shop to build his app. That was sort of number one hardest thing. And once we did that, then, we were very kind of like marketing first right at the beginning. We were running a lot of Facebook ads and stuff like that in, let's say mid 2015, because we launched the app in June of 2015, and just getting some awareness out there. Like there was a time where I feel like I knew the back end of the Facebook ads thing better than anyone I knew, even people that worked in that business, because I was like living in there trying to like make ads and do that. So just getting some sort of online presence by making videos, doing that. I think that's pretty crucial. That allows people to know that you exist, for you to tell your story a little bit. And and has a low barrier to entry. You can do it. You can just post it, or you can run it as ads to a discrete geography, in your city or your town. And none of it is that complicated that you don't have to be super technical to point a camera at your face or take pictures of your work and even post it and run it as an ad. That's very, very doable. For us, going to some trade shows and getting connected in the industry was really important. And so we got an early partnership with, maybe with GAF and some integration. And again, this is a little bit software, but just generally speaking, this idea of partnerships, and connecting with other people who have an opportunity to refer you business. I actually saw last night, it was probably a TikTok, I think, of a guy, he was talking about starting his plumbing business. And he was saying that what he did was it was a restoration business he was starting and trying to grow. And he basically made friends with like every plumber in town. He would go to their office, he would get to know them, he would send them stuff and he did good work in restoration, but the premise being, you have a pipe break, you may call the plumber, but you have this other damage, and that's fundamentally restoration. And the idea that building through relationships and existing networks is super powerful. So I'd say online, where you have an opportunity to post and just people can see it and know about it. Existing relationships, we did that. And then we did some other kind of experiments with sending, emails and just kind of like marketing, kind of hacking stuff. But nothing worked great, quite honestly. I mean, it worked a little and you would get a little better. And I mean, I remember looking on the board and it was like, we're trying to get to 40 customers by the end of this quarter or something, and everyone, if you got a customer in a day, or if 3 people started a free trial, we were celebrating. And so that kind of like sticking with things, even when they're not working as well as you want them to, but they're kind of working, I think is important, because it's really hard to start from zero, and that kind of like 0 to 1. And even for us now, we spend a lot of money on everyone, and not everyone, but most people, let's say, listening to this, have probably seen a digital ad on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok from CompanyCam. I would be willing to bet you've maybe seen one. I hope you have. And if we try to go from, let's say, spending whatever amount of money we spend a month and like increase that by 30% or 50% or 100%, it does not work right away. It is immediately inefficient, and you just get a little bit better. And then it takes you time to kind of like almost like catch up to your own growth there. So just to recap, be online. It's free distribution. And if you happen to be funny, if you happen to be interesting, that's great, but you don't have to just be there. And then think about your customer and the sort of sum of their experience. And usually there's someone else involved there, whether it's another trade, whether it's an insurance agent, whether it's even like a local kind of business group type of thing. Like, how can you connect to an existing network such that you could have an opportunity to prove yourself and then can continue to get more business through that?
Well, that's terrific. Thank you, Luke. And with that, I think let's turn to business today, CompanyCam today. Would be curious to hear, how has CompanyCam evolved since its founding, and are there pain points that have popped up for your customers that you're now solving for that you didn't imagine when the company was founded 8 years ago? 9 years.
That's a great question. Now we have 230 approximately people working here. So it's definitely a different place. And as any company grows, it does become different. And there will be people who almost literally mourn the loss of, oh, there was 3 of us or 5, or that kind of thing, because it even though you still have it, it's different for me. It's different for everyone else. And so change is hard. And if you want to grow and scale, kind of coming to terms with and communicating clearly, hey, there will be change. Things are going to change. we're not trying to set up the perfect thing and have it run forever. Things will change. And then that goes for our app too. The original idea was, can we organize these photos by the location and make that simple enough that no one has an excuse not to do it? And so that we can just find them, we have them, watch them stream across the computer. That's what we were setting out for. We saw pretty quickly that kind of that like real time, seeing everything together in one place and not having to go looking in a folder for something was pretty powerful, like almost like an Instagram feed for your company, when you can just be like, oh, look, Adam dropped off that material. That, let's say, real-time visual communication sounds fancy, but just the ability to see things without having to really go looking for them was really compelling for people. And then we kind of built on that. We added the ability to kind of comment and mention people on photos to have conversations. But it was really photo oriented. We've added video and some cool walkthrough video stuff. We're moving in the direction of kind of this like checklists, forms, and tasks area of saying, rather than just that you can pull out your phone and take pictures of things, a lot of our customers want to be able to say, this is what you need to take a picture of, or this is what needs to get done and documented, and adding some kind of structure around that. So we're moving in that direction right now. And we've got some of that functionality built out, but we're really looking to make that a lot better. And then we're dabbling in some kind of cool AI stuff right now around how do we make it as easy as possible for the person who's on site and needs to capture information. They might be right now, they may be taking photos, they're writing in a notebook, or they're using a form app, or something like that. Can we, through the new AI tools, make it incredibly simple for them to just talk to their phone, take pictures, and kind of get everything they need and get it where it needs to go? We think that we can, and we think that we can really make something that feels kind of amazing. And so anyway, there's plenty of other things that we're working on, but that's what I'm most excited about.
And Luke, over time, how have you seen, this both from working in the trades and then working with a lot of folks in the trades through CompanyCam, how has the homeowner needs and wants and expectations changed? And then how are you factoring into what you build at CompanyCam based on the homeowner versus the contractor?
Yeah, the homeowner, I think, anymore expects a little more like kind of transparency around communication, especially around photos, in the sense that it's super easy for anyone to kind of take a photo. We send photos to each other all the time. I send photos to my wife. I Slack photos to people at work. And so the customer, I mean, in a sense, they want the work to get done. They want to trust that it's going to get done in the right way at a fair price, when they said it's going to get done. And I think that kind of their core part of their expectations are roughly similar. And, we think there's an opportunity there to kind of like to enable contractors that use CompanyCam to provide an experience for their customer that is like very differentiated around the level of communication and transparency on the project. And our customer, you can already share photos out of CompanyCam, but we're exploring like, how do we truly bring the customer into this process and make them a part of the experience such that they can be capturing information, they can be seeing things in real time. And so we're working in that direction, but I do think like so much of that, Nick, where you were at our Blueprint event, I was talking about the kind of user experience of being a customer and hiring a contractor. So much of that user experience is just, did they show up? Are they doing it right? Do I feel like I believe in what's going on? But if you can create moments of high emotion, one way or the other, something that their memories of this event, and this was part of my talk about user experience at our conference here, is that when we think back to how we feel about something, how we felt about the contractor that we hired, that's overwhelmingly informed by the kind of peak emotional moment. When did I have the strongest emotions? And by the ending moment, in a sense, of the experience. How did it end? And if you can deliver for people these hopefully positive peak emotional moments, something that kind of wows them, something that says, oh, wow, I can really trust these people. I'm feeling great about how this is going. That's really good for you, even if not everything goes right. But if you can keep that, try to set that peak kind of emotional experience and then deliver an experience at the very end of the project that is meaningful and leaves them feeling positive about that, then you're going to have happy customers. They're going to refer you. And when they look back, they're not going to remember they may be able to remember if they tried, but their sentiment, their kind of how they would process it emotionally will be overwhelmingly defined by those two. I don't know why I'm doing two like that. Those two. Gave myself away in,
Some football.
what was that movie? No, yeah, that was like the Longhorn thing. No, but there was that movie with, Inglorious Bastards, where the guy does the numbers and he does it wrong, and they know that he's not one of the guys. So that was me. But and we think that we can kind of help facilitate that type of experience on the project.
And Luke, I remember you at the Blueprint event. You talked about simplicity in the CompanyCam app, and I think you said 14 buttons on the home screen or something like that you're looking to cut down. How
Yes.
have you seen, begrudgingly, how have you seen the trades adoption of technology change since you started? And for those in the trades that are listening right now, what would you say are some of the faults or maybe mistakes that contractors make when they think about adopting new technology?
Yeah, it's hard because some people, like me, I'm prone to over adopt. I kind of want to try everything. And then I almost don't have any system because I have 3 systems for something. And so you do want to have one way of doing something, but you don't want to be married to that and never change it. And so there's that balance of like, well, hey, we just write these out and that's how it always has worked and that's how it always will work. And it's not that everything has to be, digital or modern technology, but um, the whole purpose of technology, of apps, of technology writ large, is that it is more efficient, that you can get more efficiency, you can get things faster and at scale. And so I tend to think that if you can do something with technology that saves you time, that you probably should do it. And that is something that's going to allow your business to grow and to kind of scale faster, to be able to do more work, have a higher capacity. And that looking at just the cost of something there can be, it's sometimes hard to say, well, exactly how are we going to make up the, $20 a month for this or that type of thing. And I understand that because I've thought that way plenty, but the idea of like, trying to create a smoothness and an efficiency around what you're doing. Technology is a great way to do that, but you can overdo it in the sense that you feel like you need an app for everything and that you need 3 versions of doing X, Y, Z. Like it can become too much where people are unsure of where to look for information or that. And some of that can just be management and organizational structure, but a lot of it is just being clear on what are we using? Why are we using it? And making sure that it works. I'm more of a believer in if something tries to do everything, it's probably not going to do everything well. We have a lot of features at CompanyCam, but we're really about like capturing information on site, communicating that through the organization for the purposes of accountability. Like that's kind of at its core. And there's, you can make reports, you can do all this stuff, but it's like, we're trying to do this thing and we're not trying to do, every other thing. And I know at Top Line Pro, you're not saying, hey, you never need any other software at your business. Like you're saying, this is the fastest way to grow your business. And here's some key pieces that are going to help you do that. I hope you're not saying you never need any other software because that does,
You
but-
got it. Did a good job. Reed.
Yeah. And so I do think it's picking up in the trades, And I'm not as quick to judge the contractor for not using a software or something like that, because I do see the value of sometimes just like focusing on the work, but anymore, software is good enough that, if you're trying to do your own website, reviews, payments, and stuff like that, you're trying to manage all of that yourself, you're probably not going to do great on any given one versus using something like Topline, where it's like, oh, we take a bunch of the hard part out of this so that you can kind of focus on your business. And that's the stuff that I really like, because it's like, I need this function. I need people to be able to find me online. I need to get more reviews, and any amount, like using a service that makes that easy for me allows me to focus on my job, but also get more business. And so it's got to happen. It'll keep growing. That's what I like about where we're at. It's like, there still are a lot of people that haven't jumped all the way in, or that they're using kind of a very old solution that hasn't really got with the times. Because I was going to say, this, but maybe you don't, because you're so young and, you got your whole life in front of you, Nick. But the, the, the longer you've been around, the more you get you get kind of ossified. You kind of get locked in to like a way of doing something. And it is harder to change. And even at a software company like CompanyCam, like, for whatever reason, you're doing something a certain way, and it can be painful and hard to do something new. And it can you open yourself up to competition. And that's true across the board, whether you're in the trades, whether you're running like a software company, is that you just cannot be afraid to change and to step back, talk to your customers, see what they need, and change. But when that doesn't happen, and it just doesn't happen at a lot of places, it just opens up space for new companies like Topline to come in and say, hey, this is a better way to do this. And it is a better way. And and I mean, it's always hard to switch. Switching is painful. I actually take, I was going to say, I take solace. Like when I see people using terrible software, I kind of feel like, oh, well, we're not going to go totally bankrupt ever, because like, there's always this class of people that will just keep using the thing they're using no matter what, because of whatever reason of change. But really the moral of the story is like, if you are not ready to go along with change, the next person will be, and they're just going to be able to move faster than you because they're driving a faster car.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we see this and have seen it over time, where we talked to someone a year ago and they don't sign up, and then you talk to them a year later and they say, well, this year isn't as busy as the year before because I've got 2 new businesses in my town that are now showing up online in front of me. And the same thing is true for other aspects of the business. And so your competition, even if you were fine a year ago, you might not be fine a year later, depending on what other businesses do. And so I think that resonates a lot. I think your part about don't break the ship also resonates. You have to deliver. If you're in the trades, you have to deliver an incredible customer experience. You have to do the work well. And so don't try 10 different software tools that distract you from being able to do that, but figure out what are the 2 that you're going to try each year to make your business a little bit better so you don't fall behind. So that definitely resonates.
Let me add a point there. Yes, it does. And what I kept thinking, I was looking at your website here, just doing good work. Like in our case, and I told one of our new employees this today, is if we make the best solution to the problem we're trying to solve, there's always room for that. There's always room in the market for being the best. There may be ways to make more money. If you were better at sales and marketing or something, you like, or finance or whatever, it's not that just doing the work is not everything, but over time, doing something very well, like, people tell people, you get a reputation. And I've seen it here at CompanyCam. I've seen it in my dad's contracting business. I mean, he is no marketing guru, but he was serious about like taking care of people, doing the right thing, being honest. It doesn't always go right every time. I would tell people this when I was selling them roofs. Like I know that we're the best in town. You don't necessarily know that, but what I can absolutely promise you is that we are not going to walk out of here until we make something right. Cause something can always go wrong. It probably won't. It'll probably just be smooth. You'll come home at the end of the day, you got a new roof and it's all good. But if something falls on one of your plants, if I mess up and scratch something, what I assure you is that we care and we will make it right before we're out of here. And you can count on that because we would. And I knew that we would if that happened. And that is a long game, and that long game works. And if you can add in smart technology, good ways of getting more leads, that is going to that's going to get you there faster and give you more sort of at bats to deliver that experience. But just, I don't know, trying to churn through them and maximize some money on this job and get this quarter right. That, if you start shortchanging people, like it gets really hard because it's easier and easier to find the truth through review in the world now. There's not a lot of places to hide.
Yep. Definitely agree with that. And your old slogan about saving an hour a day or saving time is the essence of enabling a contractor business to do that. And so we try to help save contractors time on how they're growing their business. And then there's ways to save time on how you're operating the business. And so every time that you save and automate means more time on doing good work, talking to your customers and delivering that good experience. And so even at Top Line Pro, we think about how do we create automations in our business so that we can create a more personal experience for the customers that choose to work with us. Not because that automation is the answer to everything, but it's the answer to creating time to create personalization. So you cannot automate the aspect of the business, but how do you automate enough so that you can keep that person-to-person touch?
Absolutely.
I think on that note, let's turn to the future. We've heard a little bit about the present. I want to hear your perspective, Luke, on what is ahead. What is your vision for the future in terms of your company and then home services and the trades in general?
It's bleak out there, Jonathan. AI takes every engineer's job. You're living.
No.
You're cleaning pools. Now you're competition for the pool cleaner guy. And no, I'm not a particular doomer on any of this stuff. Like I'm super excited. And trade work, it's so specific, everything that you do. I mean, you're roofing houses or you're installing tile or all the painting, like so much of that work, I think is so far away from being automated. And like with things like CompanyCam, with things like Top Line, like the ability for the customer to kind of like to see the work, to share their experience. Like there's everyone working in the trades knows how hard it is to hire good talent in the trades. It's harder than getting new jobs a lot of time. It's really tricky. And so I see that continuing, but I do think that these careers are just great careers and that they're going to be some of the least disrupted by kind of a lot of this new technology. Now, I also believe that, in our case, or let's say people in software or technology, that I find the idea of a lot of people losing their jobs or something to be way overblown. In fact, at my dad's roofing company, our kind of bookkeeper was a friend of my parents. Her husband, who was a friend of my parents, ran a kind of like a video recording operation, like in the 90s. He'd make videos for companies and stuff like that before digital cameras. Really, you had to have like big camera in a studio. And I remember how kind of bent out of shape he was when digital cameras came along, when someone could just like use a digital camera to like record a video. And we're talking crappy camcorder style digital cameras, like in the late, let's say 90s, into the early 2000s. And the idea that, this is going to kill my profession. No one needs a videographer or whatever. And I remember thinking, I don't think that's right. And come to find out, are there more videographers now than 25 years ago? Yes, probably by like an order of magnitude. There's so many more people that make a living making videos now than did back then. And I think a lot of that's what I see happening in kind of the technology space, is that this is that the new tech, the people who sort of exploit it the best, are essentially going to empower more people to build, which will mean that more people build. And that if you understand already how to build, you might have a little leg up, in the same way that if you already knew how to shoot videos and new camera tech comes along, hey, you may have a little leg up. But if your attitude is, oh no, shucks, the game's over for me, that that just isn't going to work. And so I see, essentially in both cases, the tech is helping, but in construction, especially in contracting, just being able to get the lead and to do the work right and to kind of like manage your business properly, just old school leadership, discipline, like really hard stuff. You don't have to be super clever. Like we talk to people all the time. What do they want in a contractor? Someone they trust. That everything boils down to that. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. And I don't care if I see these Boston Dynamic robots jumping on top of whatever,
It's just a yearly video.
things. Yeah, yeah. Next year they'll like do a backflip and shoot an AR-15 or something. Know why I went there. The point is, to me, the future's bright. It's bright for CompanyCam. It's bright for Top Line Pro, and it's bright for contractors that do good work and who actually put the customer first. And there's just so much opportunity that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I think that it creates, at the core of it, and I think that most contractors will agree with this that are listening, they get a lot of satisfaction out of doing good work in the trade itself. And I think
Mhm.
technology is going to enable them to do more of that, in the same way in your videographer reference. You can create more stunning videos today than you could 10, 15 years ago. And I think that will be true in the trades, and it will be one of the last industries to be quote unquote disrupted. But I don't think disruption is disruption in the trades. I think it's just enabling contractors to do better work with more successful businesses. And that will probably attract more people to go into the trades over time as well.
I 100% am with you on that.
Luke, shall we close with a rapid fire round?
Do it. You didn't send me the questions up front. I have no idea what you're going to say. Don't screw me on this deal, Jonathan.
What's been your biggest challenge building CompanyCam?
Ooh, building myself, like becoming a more mature, better leader, everything. It's hard to do. And the person I was when I started would not be capable of doing what I'm doing right now. And I don't think who I am right now is quite capable of doing what I probably need to over the next couple of years. And so managing your own emotions, growing yourself, like that, growing yourself sounds weird, but that to me is the hardest part of starting anything. When it's sort of, when you're the final responsible person. And yeah, it's been hard, but really good.
If you could boil down your goal, what is it with CompanyCam? Why are you doing all this?
I love building things and solving problems. If that can turn into a lot of money in the future, I like that. That's good. But what's actually exciting to me, and what I've told like investors, everyone along the way, is like, hey, if we build something awesome that people love to use and we solve interesting problems, which you have all the time, in a startup, unlimited interesting problems to think about and try to solve. If we do that, then we will be valuable and we'll have all sorts of opportunities for, making money or exiting or all the things in a startup that you would think about. And so that's what I love to do. And that's why this job has been so fun, is that we get to build stuff and try to solve problems as a team. And I don't know, it's fun.
Greatest mistake, and what did you learn?
Biggest mistake. Gosh, so many mistakes. The one that comes to mind, it's more of like a category of thinking wrongly, is that I was only focused on the product for the first several years. And it's like not realizing that it's the people, stupid. Like a company is people. That's what it is. It's not a product. It's sort of the people, they make the product, they do the sales, and like finding great people, and kind of like I was talking about, of becoming the type of person that can be a leader of something, that can, that but it really just boils down to a reorienting on, yeah, it's fun to build and to solve these problems, but the core element of that is the people that you're doing it with. That is your company. And it took me a while to realize that I needed to be focusing more on like sort of finding and kind of helping to challenge and call everyone to do this thing. And that it was about the people versus saying, ooh, I can design this screen and doing that. I still like to do that though.
Think all the way back. I would love to hear what's been your proudest moment so far.
Hmm. Gosh. Okay. Proudest moment. You know, when we raised our last round of funding, we raised a bunch of money, and everyone, because of the way that we did stock options and things, not everyone, but a lot of people made money. They, like, on top of their salary, like, they were able to take home some extra money. And that was just really awesome. It was like a win along the way towards kind of like the long term. But the fact that everyone who was sort of here, who worked hard at the beginning and believed in it when it wasn't much of anything, and that we all kind of had this moment together where we're like, hey, we really did something. That was that's the thing that comes to mind. And I probably could come up with some other one, but honestly, just like everyone together being like, wow, we did this thing, and we kind of like happens everyone together. That was awesome.
The realization that you made a dent in the universe. That's cool. Luke, thank you so much for being a part of Titan Talks.
Jonathan, Nick, thank you for having me. That was great.